Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here this morning. My name is Victoria. I'm one of the PowWow committee members and a staff member here at the Indigenous Student Services Center at Windsor. So again, miigwech for taking the time to gather and to take part in this conversation this morning. So the session is ahead of our 5th annual Alumni and Student PowWow, co-hosted by Windsor and St. Clair College, which will take place on our campus at the University of Windsor this year at the Toledo Lancer Center. So that will be on Saturday, May 2nd, with grant entry beginning at 12 p.m. So it's just a really special event that we do each year. We're so honored to take part in it with community, and we really hope that you're all able to attend that day. So today's session will be led by Gordon Nicotine Sands, who will again be our MC at this year's PowWow. And he is joining us today to teach participants proper cultural protocols, rules, respectful behavior, just to help ensure that the event is conducted in a way that honors traditions and the spiritual significance of the gathering. So Gordon will be answering Gordon will be answering questions as we go in the conversation. So it'll just be very casual. So if you have something that you'd like to ask, you can feel free to drop it in the chat and he will address that. We just ask that participants keep things respectful, which I'm sure will not be an issue with that. So just a bit about Gordon. So Gordon Nicotine Sands is a Plains Cree and Ojibwe person. He's originally from the Powmaker Cree Nation in Saskatchewan. He is a 4th generation singer. He's traveled extensively in the Great Lakes and beyond, participating in cultural events such as powwows and ram dances. And with his experience, Gordon has shared his knowledge while serving as a singer, dancer, MC, and organizer. So with that, I'm happy to introduce Gordon, and I will let him take it from here.
All right. Thank you very much, Victoria, for that awesome introduction. Yeah, I think Zoom moderators don't get enough acknowledgement and recognition. So good job. Good job already. My name is Gordon Nicotine Sands, and I think I'll start off with a little bit of history. I think the reason why I was brought on to speak today, I think ultimately is about education, and I'm big on that. Whenever we do presentations and just at schools or any, especially non-native organizations that want us to present and stuff, I always start off with that. And I think at a post-secondary institution, I really think it's quite fitting because I think powwows are one of those things that a lot of Native people are just expected to be aware of and have that in their background. When the truth is, I know that a lot of our First Nations people in North America are not powwow people, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's only a small percentage of us people, First Nations people, that are practitioners of this stuff. So I think education goes a long way towards the understanding because um, let's face it, there is some exploitation of it, in different medias. But I think the more informed you are, the more you can decide if this is for you or if this is not for you. Or so, powwows did originate about 225 years ago from what we know as the Omaha people. And that's like where the word Omaha comes from. That's how it's pronounced these days. But the original people were the Omahas, and that's the American Midwest around Nebraska. And they started off as a Thanksgiving ceremony of sorts. So they kind of structured it around the first full moon in August to almost certainly guarantee no rain. No rain would fall during their ceremony. So what they were doing was giving thanks to a bountiful harvest and the meat and everything that would sustain them through these harsh Nebraskan winters. So that's how it started off was that. And right next door we have the Winnebago people, and they were the orchestra, the originators of the what we know as the modern day grass dance. So out of that area came what we know as the grass dance, the women's traditional dance, and then ultimately the women's fancy shawl dance. Now that was around, like I see, 225 years ago, and that format was it moved around like a lot of stuff, like a lot of other stuff did. It was given as a gift, right? So Indigenous people were known to give, not just, physical things, tokens and stuff like that, seeds and whatever you had, trade and commerce and stuff like that. But they were also given ceremonies. So that's how different songs and different dances moved around throughout North America. And then we also had the the showman known as Buffalo Bill Cody, and he is the one that brought in, um, well, after hostilities and campaigns were ended against our people around before 1900, he started bringing these native people in these rodeo style arenas with the cowboys, and they would have these native people perform these war dances. So these war dances were things that warriors would do prior to going into battle, because we know that they would be facing certain death, or they would be injured, and their lives would be greatly affected. So they had all this built up energy. So what they would do is have these war dances prior to going out on the on the war path with other nations, other tribes, or what have you, whatever they were doing. So it's important to note that all of the male style powwow dances are essentially old time war dances. So our dancers are out there just sort of mimicking that old time stuff. It's more or less like storytelling. So over the last 225 years, different nations or tribes would add their own sacred dances, like the Ojibwe contributed the jingle dress, and then the Siksika would contribute the chicken dance, and um, the Ponkas would contribute the fancy bustle dance. So I cover a lot of this in my emceeing because, like I say, I want to cut down on. You'd be surprised how many people dance these dance styles and they don't have any idea where they came from, and that's the importance of it. And the reason why that's important is because sometimes people will use that against you, and they'll try and call you out on it, and that'll be the first thing that they try and attack. So the more informed you are about this kind of stuff is, part of the journey of being a powwow singer, or a powwow dancer, or even participating. And there's many other, ways, capacities that our people participate in powwows, like even the food vendors, where, even security, veterans, elders. It's just, it's a huge endeavor. And that's why it takes, and I don't have to tell the organizers here, the students, or whoever's the volunteers and the employees of the university, that it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of gathering of whatever. So essentially, it is a celebration of life through the expression of song and dance. And those are not themes that are easily explained, which is why you have the actual event, that we have to attend and just be there. You can't really perfectly describe what it's going to be like. You just have to experience it. And, once the drums get going and once the dancers start dancing, then that's kind of when it clicks in. You're like, ah. So I think that the beauty of that is that it's extended to everybody. It's not just extended to First Nations people. It's extended to everybody that's in the house. Everybody has the right to participate in the, the intertribals, or the opportunities for non-native people or people not in regalia to come on out and share a dance. I mean, by that term, the expression of song and like life through song and dance. That means that when we gather at these things, there's no militarized thinking of it. There's no scolding. There's no getting angry. There's no protesting. There's no. That's something that I found here in Ontario to be sort of prevalent at these gatherings. That sometimes people will get like a militant attitude and say, "You're doing this the wrong way, and this is the way that we do it," or people will jump on the microphone and start giving people crap and scolding. And you know, I think you're missing the point. That's really evading you what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the celebration of you, and being able to walk and talk and see and hear, and the creator giving you another day to do all these things. These are the things that we give thanks for as Indigenous people, because there's so many people that we have that are not able to do that stuff. People in our own families are not able to rise out of bed. um, So for a public event, it certainly has a lot of personal themes that we're all able to connect to. So once you're showing up at a pod, you're meant to be putting your best foot forward. You're not meant to be fighting or angry or feuding or any of that stuff. So that's not the proper venue to express any of that stuff. So if you're there, you're expected to be, um, positive and take in everything that's being put forth. Even like I say, that the craft vendors, the food vendors, all of that's being put forth for people to enjoy themselves. And I think if you have a comprehension of that, the ability for you to pass that on to anybody that you encounter is all that much easier. So if they see you standing there with a big smile on your face and you got a t-shirt on and you're greeting everybody and letting everybody know what, I think that really is a unique touch that you don't see at a lot of powwows. You don't see a lot of extra welcoming, and I think that's what we see at Windsor too, is a lot of accommodating and a lot of welcoming. That certainly makes all the difference. So in terms of what's expected from, well, I'll cover both organizers and participants, especially. A lot of that direction will be given by the MC, and a lot of direction not over the microphone, over the air, will be given by the arena director. So those are the responsibilities of those two individuals. So if the arena director is seeing something that shouldn't be happening, then he'll address it and you know run right up to that person and say, okay, this is how we do things, and this is not the way we do things. Or the MC even will, it's their job to give that direction, to say when to stand, when to be respectful, and all of that stuff. People that enter that arena are expected to behave, certainly. And I think in general it's just expected, but there's certain things they can and cannot do. And I don't know if there'll be something in print. Most powwows have something in print where they can just look down and say, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And I think Windsor might have that, and even if they don't, that's a good idea, to just whatever booklet you have, that they throw in those kind of rules. And I think they're just common sense things, like you don't touch anybody's regalia. You ask permission before you take anybody's photograph, or if you see an item on the ground that is a regalia item, then bring it to the attention of the MC or the arena director. Stuff like that. Um, common sense things, and I think that's the job of the MC and the arena director, and any of the singers too. The singers, believe it or not, are actually, the singers and the dancers, believe it or not, are really vigilant. Is that the word? They're keeping a watchful eye out of anything that's there. There isn't too many things that are missed at a powwow and are brought to the attention of the people that can make a difference. And a lot of times it's not people being mean or being, you know, disrespectful. It's just stuff that they don't know. So I've encountered that a lot in my life, about people just being in your space, but they're not doing it in any kind of malicious way. They're just, for example, we set up a canopy at an outdoor pile, and then it starts to, rain a little bit. Then a family will just come and stuff themselves under our canopy with all our stuff there, and those are the things where you're like, hey, like, you know, excuse us, but this is our space. This is our. So I think a lot of that they just don't know, because when you go out to non-native events and stuff, you just are allowed to roam and do whatever you want. If you're at a sporting event, there's not too many rules or protocols in that regard. But with ours, there is. So I would say at certain times, certain songs they sing, like the flag song or veteran song, there a lot of people, a lot of powwows encourage people to rise, and out of respect. And same thing as a national anthem at any other non-native event. Um, um, Other than that, no drugs, no alcohol, nobody. And that one's funny too these days. I think there's a lot of committees that if they see somebody roaming around that's under the influence, I think that the general consensus now is to not disturb them or not bother them, but I think I have a profound understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think that there really is a time and a place for everything. And I think that if we see somebody that is under the influence, that they will ultimately, they'll be received in a gentle way, but ultimately they should be asked to leave because um, when you have medicines present, when you're burning medicines, sometimes there's pipes there. You have elders that are speaking, and what's happening is they're invoking a spirit that is present. You can't really pinpoint what that is, and because there's so many different nations there with so many different beliefs, but when the drums are going and the medicines are burning and the elders are speaking, there is something present there. There's a spirit that they're trying to, call. And you can't have that, mixing with people who are, under the influence. That's just my personal belief. That's what I would push for if I was ever. But again, that goes with my own teaching of not being militant. So it's usually a combined effort to receive anything that. And I can't remember the last time I saw something like that happen. So I'm just really um, letting you know what you might see at a powwow. That would be the worst thing. Um, and other than that, just kids, running around the arena and stuff when we're having songs going on. I let parents and guardians know that we're trying to do things here and that help us out is what I'll always say. Help us out. Come and get your little ones because again, some families, some parents, they don't really know too much and they might not even catch it either when we say this is what we're doing. Okay, if we call for a grass dance exhibition, then they don't understand that that means clear the arena. Let's keep the arena clear. So, and lately I never thought that I would have to do that, but you have to really sometimes spell things out and you really have to repeat yourself. So I think those few words really cut down on any kind of occurrences will pop up. So again, it's always for me about education and keeping people informed. And I think the committee they don't have they have enough work, they have enough responsibility. So I don't think there's too much as far as um, they're just expected to deliver on the stuff that they said that they would deliver, and that is any accommodation or any information regarding the meal or the accommodations or the honorarium. I think the availability of the committee is really what people need, and you can't have questions unanswered. You can't have um, people saying that I needed this and it wasn't given to me and all that. And the few years I've been involved with Windsor, it's been pretty good. The only thing I saw last year when some people were upset about honorarium at the end, and the committee was really being accommodating and addressing these things, and that's what you can call upon me for if you have those things pop up, because that's one thing that we can see that I do see is that sometimes committee members are not as experienced as somebody like myself or DJ or any of the senior or veteran powwow people there, that you'll have people that will you know not necessarily take advantage of a committee, but um, try and say, well, I'm trying to get this for myself, and it's supposed to be that way. Didn't you know? But as in terms of seeing it all, I think I've seen it all, and I think that if any of the committee members have any concerns, you can come up to me and say, well, so and so was trying to tell me this or tell me that. You know, I think that's what I'm brought on for too, is that security for your event, because you want it to be very uh, you want it to happen with no ripples and no waves. And I think that again, I'm not fear mongering, but there are people who are eccentric. There are people that who, will go to extremes to get what they want. They'll try and, dupe you into things or talk you into things and, excuse the term, but BS you guys. And that's one thing that, I try and cut down on is the BS. And because I know, and the reason why I'm like that is because I appreciate the effort that is being, you guys didn't do this for nothing. You did it because you want the best outcomes. You did it because you want the event to really succeed, and that has to be acknowledged. That has to be, somebody has to stand up for that. And I think as the MC, organizer, and the arena director too, that's our job, is to stand up for you guys and say like, yeah, we got your back, and we're not going to let anybody come in and take advantage of you or behave in a way that's working towards what the ultimate vision was. And the ultimate vision was to pull off a successful event where people were learning something, where people were experiencing something that you can't really get any other place, right? And that's what these events are supposed to be doing. And I think that the um, experience of the people that are in that head staff position, I think that can be called upon, relied upon, or um, in times of uncertainty. So, like I said, in terms of the committee's responsibilities, it's just everything that you guys said that you would deliver. The honorariums, the accommodations, the feasts, the direction. You don't have to stand there and listen to somebody gripe about parking or you know any of these other trivial matters that come up, because once again, people that attend these things are expected to be on their best behavior. They're expected to put their best foot forward. And I think that we can have all those expectations, but we have to be mindful of the things that are going to come up where we can't control that. And these last few years, I think it's been very, very minimal, I would say. And over my, entire career, I think it's been very minimal. But there haven't been too many wild things I've seen at powwows, and that was my approach. When I was younger, I used to be big on the showmanship and the joke telling and stuff like that. But in my maturing years, I've really been about the education, so that you hear something that you don't know in terms of what's expected out of you. Or so I really think on site is going to be where this works best. When I'm going to say, all right, we at this time we're going to ask you to put away your recording devices, your phones, your videos. We are not going to, take pictures or take videos of this upcoming song. And thank you very much for your participation and stuff. So I think we again, whether or not you guys are going to have that in print, like a little pamphlet or booklet, then yeah, we can say those common things: no drugs, no alcohol, no pets. And I think that's something else, as an example, that people don't really understand about, the teachings of the Ojibwe, and having dogs at at your powwow, your event. But then now these days it goes against you know um, having an animal with you that's considered to be, what do they call it? Like for security or whatever. When you have those animals that you're, what do you call it? There's a term, right?
Service animal.
Service animal. No, no, for comfort, right? Like if you have somebody that is having a pet with them that is designated as a, yeah.
Is it emotional support animal?
Yeah, like that, yeah. Oh, somebody's mic is on. Yeah, like an emotional support animal. And then if you have those, kind of conflicting um protocols. So we say no dogs in the arena, and then you have somebody that says, well, this is my emotional support animal. Then that is something that that you have to navigate through, and you have to try and work with people. And that happened to me not last weekend, but the weekend before. We had a powwow in London, and there was a woman carrying a little dog with her in her arm, and then we had the arena director go up and address that, with sensitivity and all that. So yeah, so no pets at the powwow, and no drugs, no alcohol. Just be respectful of regalia items. Bring it to the attention of the head staff. Um, yeah, don't take any photos or videos of anybody without their permission. Just common sense things. And I know I'm missing something, so Yeah, if anybody has a question or concern, you can let me know. Just go ahead, fire away.
Bonjour, Dunes. It's Michelle.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good.
Good. I just wanted to add that everybody coming in as our guests and just add on about the hospitality part. We had helpers come with Eagle staff carriers last year that didn't appreciate how they were treated initially. So just understanding that we treat the guests plus their families and whoever comes with them
Yeah.
with the same hospitality. And then maybe touch on some moon teachings.
hmm Yeah. There's a lot of teachings out there and beliefs that when women, girls that are on their moon time, that they're not to enter the arena. They're not to, uh, you know, touch feathers or be suited up in regalia. And in terms of that, like as far as enforcement goes, like I don't I don't have a way to navigate through that because it's not really my place. I think those teachings are for everybody in their own personal life to use in their own personal life. Like I think that um, it can't it can be I don't know if that's something that we can really put out there or encourage, but because that's supposed to be common knowledge in terms of you know whatever your teachings were on the matter, like it's for your own good, it's for your own sake, it's for your own um well-being, but um I just don't know that would be up to you guys if you wanted to say women, girls on their moon time are encouraged not to dance or encouraged not to suit up, but that's certainly something I would not say over the microphone and have that be a thing. So um I don't know, thoughts or opinions.
No, I agree. I wouldn't want it like aired over the microphone or anything, but like
Yeah.
I think mainly like also for committee members to know like how much we can be involved or not involved if we're on our moon and
Yeah.
where.
Right. Well, I would say yeah, handling of items, handling of medicines and handling of feathers and stuff like that, or being in close proximity of the drums. Yeah, maybe that stuff. So um again, that I don't know if that's something that you is it creates a lot of people would be might not want to talk about that. So just know for yourselves, and that's a good point, Michelle, is just to refer back to your own education, your own information on it, and say, well, okay, because I'm on moon time, I can't assist you with your regalia items. I can't handle this medicine. I can't. I think if you say that to any Nishnob in the house, then they'll certainly understand. Just say, I can't, with respect, I can't help you out or whatever. But yeah.
Amy Gwitch for all of that, Gordon. That's been great.
Mhm.
If anyone has any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or feel free to turn on your mic, or you can even send them to me or Gordon and we can address them like that.
Mhm.
So I guess just to close off, no one has any further questions. Just to reiterate, I know you've talked a lot, but just thinking if someone is new or has this is their very first powwow, is there like one or two like very important things that you think should be at the top of someone's mind just to keep in mind as they attend for the first time?
Yeah, I would say again, what I let off with was about just following direction. I think following direction from the MC, the arena director, and any elders. And I think that goes for committee members and anyone involved with the POW. That if you're not sure, just to bring it to the attention of the head staff, because again, that's their role there. That's what they're being paid to do. So it's not just to deliver, you know, the the emceeing to the participants, or it's also again about utilizing their knowledge, utilizing what they know to help you navigate, because it is I think on the instead of saying I don't know or I need help on this, I think a lot of people, especially Indigenous people, will just kind of wing it and just kind of say. But again, it's okay to admit that if you're not a practitioner, if you don't know too much, then it is perfectly okay to ask for help and ask for direction. And that is what I would like to see, if somebody just doesn't know what to do at that particular time. So, and, that's the way it's going to go down, because believe it or not, every powwow is different. The people that are in attendance is what makes it different than, last month's powwow or the powwow before that. Like it depends on who shows, and then you go from there. So then you kind of add what we know is protocol, and what we know is the proper way to do it, and we use that to help us out with anybody that may show up, if that makes sense. So, like I said, it takes a lot for me to put this in a way where people can understand it. You're just gonna have to come. You're gonna have to come to the powwow on site and show up and see for yourself.
Yeah, Biju, it's DJ here. I
Yep.
was just gonna kind of add on to that. To like every powwow is a little bit different. Even year to year, it changes, it grows. Sometimes it gets a little bit smaller. Um, like I think I would say this powwow started out as a social, and the time of year was frequent just upon availability for the space, dancers, singers, and whatnot. And so, long story short, like this is probably like 20 years building up to what it is now. And like it's grown immaculately, like so big that it's we have the space, the venues for that to host it in there. And as far as like dancers and singers, the ones that are experienced like ourselves there, it may take a little bit longer for our younger ones to get into realizing what they're representing, and not only themselves, it's their community, their family, their teachings, and their nation altogether, because they when you get to a certain experience level, we know what we're representing. We know what style we're dancing. We know what songs we're singing. And then it's we try to have the best reflection of that. And then we try to walk in a good way, be in a good spot, adding on to what you were saying, that like we don't try to be down or in the rut during the whole time. No, you put your best foot forward, as you were saying there, and then represent your family and community proudly. In regards to those that may be under the influence or such, I would there's like 2 levels or 3 levels you could go with it. And like first you bring it up to a volunteer, and then the volunteer would be like, well, maybe we should get security involved if they're being belligerent or rude or aggressive. And then the next part, if they're really out of sort for whatever reason, you may have to get police involved, just so everything's handled as most safely as possible and respectfully too, because you don't want a confrontation going on in the middle of it. And henceforth, that's why you don't do drugs and alcohol at a powwow.
Yeah.
That's about it for me there. And yeah, miigwech.
All right, right on. Thanks, man. Yeah. I wanted to add on what you were saying about that. Once upon a time, Windsor used to have a summer powwow. They used to have a powwow every February at the college, and those were things that people really look forward to, especially that summer one, because it was part of like a local circuit. And it's a good thing that you guys are doing here. And I think the committee members have changed, and the venue has I mean, the way the event looks has changed, but to have that dedicated weekend every year, that is a really good thing for culture participants in the area. Something they can mark on their calendar and look forward to. And so they can, figure out a circuit, because there's so many dedicated powwows all summer long that are on the same weekends every year, and I think that's really important. The round dances are not too like that. There are a lot of one-offs, and I think that's, if there is a responsibility on people that want to organize these things, it's to give people that same dedicated weekend every year, and I think that's what we're doing here. And I think you can tell the dedication there in Windsor, because even though the committee members are changing, they still pass on the format, they pass on the way things are done to the incoming organizers and committee members. So real good stuff happening over there. So yeah, Victoria, I think that's pretty well it for me. If anybody else has any last thoughts or anything like that.
Bonjour, Brian here. So last year there was tobacco ties that were being offered in the fire. If we cannot give those out, I will have tobacco in the where the fire is. I think I grabbed like 5 out of the fire because my teachings, and I haven't went to any place where they burn tobacco ties. So that's more of a new age thing and something with funerals, right? That's the only place where I've like seen tobacco ties. So if we cannot give those out this year and just have the tobacco at the fire, that would be great. Because I did burn my hands a couple of times last year. And as far with emotional support animals, I think a kind way of going about it is just explaining to the person that we have our ways, right? And everyone's welcome to participate and to be part of, but we can't change our ways to accommodate other people, to keep it sacredness, to keep it the way that was given to us by Creator, right? I think that would be the most appropriate way to go about that issue, because I see that a lot at ceremonies and different events, and that's how I've gone about it in the past. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Right on. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate your good words there. Yeah. I don't really like ties either, because I don't always have a fire readily available, so then I end up putting it in my pocket, and I got so many of them. I think that sometimes committees will use that. It's kind of like a gesture, a meaningful gesture to them to hand them out to people as they come in, but that makes a lot more sense to have it available by the fire, so the MC can let anybody know that wants to make an offering that you can go to the fire and they have tobacco there for them. So yeah, that's a good point.
What about tobacco ties for head staff and flag carriers?
Yeah, if we could ensure that there's the same amount of ties for the people that are like, we don't want to make 100 of them. Like, yeah, it's cool to make them just for your people that are known participants, and even for the drum, just have one tie for the whole drum. And I know singing groups are more inclined to utilize them. They'll just stockpile them, but yeah, in terms of handing it like hundreds of them out, then that's probably not a good idea. Yeah. And yeah, that protocol, I've seen that too at powwows and round dancers, where people challenge that stuff, and it's difficult even at round dances. When we have this one, there's not too many protocols at round dances, but there's one that says that you're not supposed to carry young babies and while you're dancing around there. And I've seen it a couple times, and there was a big thing on social media a couple of months ago with this very well-known and famous singer from Alberta. He encountered this unfortunate event in Wisconsin and it was just him telling this person that you can't really carry children while you're out there dancing at the round dance. And I think people will go out of their way to challenge that, and to ultimately you can really do nothing, as there's no culture police. But like this gentleman said before me, that it's just our ways. Those ways are thousands of years old, and they're there for your safety. They're there for your spiritual safety. They're rules that were handed down to the people from Creator and the spirits and everything like that. So we're doing our best to just inform people, and that's all you can really do. And people are still going to do whatever they're going to do, but it's just, I guess it's just a matter of having that in your life versus not having that in your life. If you've never had that in your life, then it's not really gonna, you're not really gonna care too much, right? So, and I think that happens too. I see that a lot at our events too, where people just stand there and they kind of scoff at the things that I say, and but again, are you showing up there? Are those people showing up there with their best foot forward and an open mind and an open heart? I think you really have to be in a good spot in the first place to attend one of these things, right? Okay, again, Victoria, that's it from me.
Okay, yes, Miigwech again,
Yep.
Gordon, and thank you to Michelle, DJ, and Brian for sharing your knowledges as well. This has been really great. We have a great turnout every year at the PowWow, both Indigenous members and allies coming out. And I know a lot of the allies always ask, especially if it's their first time, like, am I allowed to come? What are the protocols? So just to maintain that level of respect, that's been really great, just for you to share these teachings with everyone and just to make everyone feel welcome, but to also know that there are things that have to be followed to that respect. So that's been great. So if no one has any further questions, I'll just ask you just one to send us off in a good way. So for you specifically, what does it mean for you to be able to come out to the powwows every year, and what does that mean for you specifically?
It has a lot of a meaning for me and my family, because that's the way that we kind of share and maybe share what we know with people, and maybe inspire people to do these kind of things. So if there's a young person out there that's watching us sing and dance, and they might get inspired to pick it up, and I think that's an opportunity for me to carry myself in a confident way and show our people that it's fine to do this stuff. It's fine to do what we do, because I think a lot of our people hold their heads down. There's a lot of generational trauma and shame that a lot of people are born into, and it did that for me when I was that age. I saw these guys singing and I saw these guys dancing, and I was just like, I really want to do that. And I've been really focused on that ever since, and it really inspired me. So I think that's the most rewarding part for me, is to inspire people, and not even inspire them to pick it up, maybe just to say there's a Native person right there that is proud of who he is and proud of what he has. And I hopefully that inspires them to kind of, and I always say that at the end of these events, they're not meant to make us rich or famous, or but we have a really good time at the powwow. We'll have a really good time on May 2nd, and the very next day, we'll all, rise out of bed, and our paths will be just a little bit straighter. Our heads will be just a little bit higher, and those are the medicines that we're receiving, from for our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. So that's the most rewarding for me.
All right, Miigwech, sorry to put you on the spot there, but
no problem.
No, it's such an empowering thing to be able to pass on to the generations. One of my favorite specials is always the tiny tots. I mean, not only are they adorable, but it's just so empowering to see the little ones take that on from an early age. And
of course, yeah.
To see families coming together in that way.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's all the more meaningful with the discovery of the, in recent years, all the residential school grave discoveries. I think that having our little ones dance out there and showcase that is proof, and a really solid evident thing that what they try to do to us, it didn't work, because we're still here and our babies are still dancing, and that's what they tried to do. They try to target our babies, and so obviously it didn't work. And I love saying that over the mic and making everyone aware of that. So
hey, Miigwech again. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to join us and be part of the session. We really appreciate you taking the time to learn with us and grow together as a community. Again, we're going to gather May 2nd at the powwow. That'll be at the Toldo Lancer Center at the University of Windsor, with grant entry beginning at 12 p.m. And we're also currently looking for volunteers to help out the day before the event and the day of the event. So if that's something that you would be interested in being a part of, you can find the volunteer sign up form on our Facebook page at Turtle Island, Windsor. So we wish all again for your time and being a part of this conversation today, and we hope to see you at the powwow on May 2nd.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.